Hi everyone. Okay, so today I thought I would come on here really quickly. This probably won't be a super long video, and talk to you about one of the most common folk magic charms. Specifically, it's used a lot in Pennsylvania folk magic. It's found a lot in the old grimoires. You can see it in a lot of different places because it's not just specifically Pennsylvania, but it is used a lot. In this folk magic, it's also used, I believe, in hoodoo and Appalachian folk magic and a bunch of different places. And that is the abracadabra charm. It's a diminishing charm to get rid of or remove something. I use it mostly in healing work, but I have used it before in like reducing debt and things like that. Anything that you want to make smaller, kind of banish from your life, get rid of, the abracadabra charm can work really well for that. So the first thing that you'll do is to write out or to rip out a piece of paper in a triangle formation. It really works better if you write the abracadabra charm and then rip the paper around it. I didn't do that. I did it backwards this time, so it's a little smushed in the bottom, but it works better that way, actually. And you want to rip the paper. It's part of like folk magic tradition not to use any cut edges, machine cut edges. So you rip the paper. And so I'm going to show you, I wrote it in pencil so that I could go over it in pen so that you could see. And generally, if you're doing this, let me write the first line. If you're doing this, for a person, really, or for a situation, you want to have that in mind as you're writing out the charm, what it is that you want to diminish, what it is that you want to get rid of. So this was the first part of just writing it out across the top. On the back of the paper, you can have the person's name and their date of birth, and then you can write across it what it is that you are getting rid of, what you want to remove from them, or you can write it like around the edge. So you're going to create sort of a petition out of it. If you're doing it for somebody else, especially if it's somebody else at a distance, I always just turn the abracadabra charm itself into the petition paper if I'm working on another person and they're not present. If they are present, which I've done in several different settings, I've used this on my animals, I've used it on my children. So you just want to continue writing while you're thinking in your mind of what it is that you want to get smaller, to remove. And as you're writing this, the situation gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it vanishes. That's the idea of the charm. So I'm halfway through there. So you see how you just drop a letter at the end. And this is seen in different places, in different ways, written different ways. Some of it's traditional, like abracadabra. Other ones, some have different letters. It's all the same because it's diminishing. It's the intent behind it. It's going to be hard to see the bottom because it's all smushed, but that's okay. So you take this paper, you write this out while you're thinking about what it is that you're getting rid of. If there is a person from a distance that you're doing healing work on, or that you're doing some other kind of work that needs to be removed, you would write their name across here with their birth date. Right, across the back. I just put name and birthday, but you would put that. And then you would take this paper. You're getting rid of something, so you're going to turn it to the left. This isn't a square paper, so it's going to be like, you know, so that the name itself is perpendicular, right? And then across that 3 times, or if it's a something that you want to write out, you're going to write it out around the edge. But you're going to write it this way across it. Right? So here's the name, birth date. Then I turned it, trying to see how it's going to show up on the paper. I turned it to the left. I don't know if that was left for you guys because the camera changes, but then you're going to write, I put issue removed, right? Issue removed, issue removed. So whatever that issue is, I'm just using this as an example, but whatever that issue is, you're going to cross it on there. Then you're going to turn it upside down like this so that for you it looks like this, upside down. And you're going to sign your name as the one in authority over this situation, right? So you're going to sign your name across it that way, and then you would turn it back all the way around. So, right? That's how the petition is. I only do this part of it if the person is not in front of me, if I'm doing this distance work. If I'm not, I just do the regular abracadabra charm on the paper. And then traditionally, this charm is used to apply to the person who the issue is being removed from, especially for healing work. So if it's for like removing debt or something, you would write this out on the, I did it on the bill that comes in, and then the part at the bottom where you have to pay, you know, you rip it off and pay, or you pay it online or whatever. Anyways, on the paper bill that came in, that's where I wrote the part that I was keeping. That's where I wrote the abracadabra charm while I was doing the work on it. So actually we just wrote it right on what it was talking about. So that's like just getting rid of debt or whatever. This one, if you're doing it, which it's most traditionally used on the person for healing that's in the physical present before you, this charm is designed to be placed, and I'm putting it in a place where you guys can see it, but it's designed to be put on the place, on the part of the body that you need the healing for. And this is a removal of something. So like if you're trying to remove a virus, right? Or you're trying to remove, probably shouldn't talk about that stuff on here, but if you're trying to remove something, of course, this isn't the only thing that you would rely on. But for instance, okay, I did this on my dog. When they thought he had blockages in his intestines, and they went in and they did the x-ray, and they saw something in the x-ray, and they were like, let's monitor it for 24 hours. If it doesn't move very much, if it's showing no movement tomorrow when you bring him in to do the x-ray, we're probably going to have to do surgery to remove that blockage, right? So it wasn't on paper. I did it on a handkerchief, a white handkerchief, tied it around his neck. And so it was like that around his neck, but you would place it on the part of the body, wherever it is that you're trying to remove. And then you would do work over the top of it, right? So this is energy work. You would do that energy work over the top of it. And I have a particular diminishing charm that I use for it that calls or draws out, which is a kind of a popular folk magic one too, that calls or draws out the issue. Like, it's not specifically the issue. It's kind of nonsense words, but it says out of the marrow and into the bone, out of the bone and into the blood, out of the blood and into the flesh, out of the flesh and into the charm, or whatever else I'm using, because I use those two things together a lot, but it just depends on the circumstance, right? So this is the one you would put on. So sometimes I would take like an oil and anoint over the top of the paper and place it where it needs to go, and then you would do the working over that. Traditionally in Pennsylvania folk magic work, you're doing it 3 times in the day, right? So like you would repeat the whole charm 3 times for as many days kind of as you would need it to be. But doing it distance work, you would do this. I like to work this one on poppets, right? On a doll, if I'm doing work for somebody on a doll like that. And so I would place this on the part of the body, or the doll on this that I'm doing the work on. So that's just a kind of a quick and easy Pennsylvania folk charm that can be used for a lot of things. Not all of it is healing related. Like I said, you can use it as a money charm. You can use it for a lot of things. This is in a lot of different folk magic traditions, and it's been around for a long, long time. I've never had this not work, to be honest. And I use it quite often. It can be used to draw out all kinds of things, to remove stuff, to help. And like any kind of magical work, I would say this is something that you would do alongside any other medical work that needs to be done. It's not something to be relied on its own, but it does help quite a bit in aiding the process of removing something, or diminishing it, making it smaller, making it go away, drawing it out, breaking it down. Anything that's like that that you want to see diminished to small. That's how you would use that particular charm. So anyways, if you have any questions about that, leave it below. If you would like a reading or a session or energy work or spell work or anything like that, I leave the link to my website below. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.